Hello, welcome to my homestead. I'm Paul Thoman and I live in Blanche, North Carolina. This is the springtime and this is my first how-to video that I've actually talked in. I did one other how-to video that I didn't do any talking in. It wasn't very popular. Anyways, the reason for this video is that it's spring, or at least it's getting to be spring. We're at the end of February right now. We're looking at March, and in North Carolina, some of our seeds go into the ground right now. Radishes we can put in the ground. Any of the early crops, cold weather crops, we can get into the ground. I've been, building my garden over the years, and each year I sort of add new raised beds. And this year I went up onto the internet and it seemed like everywhere I looked I saw these sort of corrugated metal raised beds. And so I watched a ton of different videos and everybody had a different take on how to make them. But I looked at them and for the most part they were all using the full sheets of corrugated metal, which is, well, it's 26 inches high, and I just thought, well, that's just too much. I don't want my raised beds that high. I don't want to have to fill them that high. A lot of people put lots of wood on the bottom, and that's for apparently some method that helps keep the soil with nutrients in it over time. I just add nutrients. I just amend the soils every year. This year I added alfalfa. I have my own take on the corrugated metal beds. But the other thing I did, which is a little bit unique to this video, is that I'm also adding a raised bed hoop house, if you will, on top of it. And there's lots of different videos out there about how to build these hoop houses. And so again, I went through a lot of them and I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting to sort of put the two together, because I think the two work well together. I always wanted a hoop house. I was going to get one of the Farmer Friends one, and it was going to be, I don't know, 20 feet wide by 50 feet long. And I thought, well, it's just too much, and it's a lot of plastic, and it's very high, and even if you had to heat them or anything like that, it takes a lot to do it. So I've seen so many of these hoop houses go up here in North Carolina, and then they get used for a year or two, and then all you see is the frame there after it. When I saw somebody do this, I thought, well, that's good. That's a great idea. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to do a raised bed and just put the hoop house right on top? And my raised beds were always 30 inches wide, but these raised beds now are 48 inches wide by 8 feet long with the hoop house over the top. And you probably ask, if you're from up north, well, in North Carolina, why do you need a hoop house? Well, it freezes here. Tomatoes in the ground at the beginning of May, a little earlier maybe, and Mother's Day weekend, we had a hard frost. And I nearly lost my tomatoes, my squash and zucchini plants and cucumber plants. They didn't bite the dust, but it took them weeks to recover. With these, if I got them in here, I would just close it up for the night and protect it, and I wouldn't have to worry about any kind of frost, which is good. The other advantage to it is that guaranteed I can get at least 2 weeks more on the beginning of the season and 2 weeks more at the end of the season, so I can keep them going later. I might even be able to get through the first couple of frosts and maybe get my plantings, keep them going into early December. Who knows? I haven't really used it, so I guess we'll figure it out. Well, the way they work is that at least the way I've set them up is I've got, they're on hinges, and you just pick them up like this, and then they just have a strap like that. You can just hold the strap like that and then just let it fall back, and then you fill the middle with soil, and it's just a garden bed with a raised hoop house. Cheap. And you're probably asking, how cheap is it? Well, my goal for this video was to do this whole setup, the whole setup for $100 or less. It came out to $112. So I didn't exactly meet my, this will get a 4x8 here, so I've had to push this out a little bit this way and a 4x8 there, and we're still going to keep the same lane width here, so this will be where we'll set things up. Well, the sun's getting a little bit low in the sky, so we're going to just get these cut. We're just going to be doing the posts, the 4x4 posts. I've already got 7 of them done, as you can see right here, and now I'm going to do 13 more. Every piece needs to be cut in half so they're 13 inches high. So basically what we want to do is, this is the 13-inch mark right here, so we're going to follow this ridge line. That's just going to be our mark for the lengthwise. Okay, so as I said before, we're using these tech screws. The nice thing about it is they're made for corrugated metal roofing. They've got a rubber grommet on it, so it gets a good seal on it. And in addition, these are pointed, so when they're going in, they go much easier into through the metal and into the wood, as opposed to the self-tapping style. So I just square these up on this side and then just screw them in, and make sure that your corrugated metal, the side that you cut, is down. That will make it a lot safer, although we're going to put some trim on it, so it should be okay, but I think having it down is probably the best way to do it. Okay, the next step in the process is to lay out where the supports are going to go on the sides. As you can see, the corrugated metal is not a very strong material, so it needs to be supported. Once it's supported, I don't think that it will have any problems bearing the weight of the soil. Not as much pressure is going out that's going down. So if you do see problems, you can always put an additional support on it, but I don't think there's going to be any problems. So let's measure these out. Basically, I'm going to put one more support along the short side and two more supports along the long side. So being 96 inches, that's approximately every 32 inches that we need to have a mark. And then the 2-foot mark along the sides. So these are the two types of drip edge that I was talking about. You can see that with this type, you can see that on this one you've got this flange here, and it sort of will get in the way of on a corner. It doesn't look that good on a corner, whereas this one on the at the 90-degree bend, it doesn't have that, so these look better on the corners, I think. But I tend to put them up like this, and then this one just gets bent down when I put the top on it. So this is my edge around the apron around the top, and it works good. It gives a fairly nice look. This gives a little bit of an ornamental look to it. So let's cut them. We've got 8x4. Everything's 8x4. So we need, of the white, we need 2/8 or 4/8 and 4 4s. Okay, we just cut the trim. Now we're going to start the process of putting the trim on. Okay, I'm going to add a couple of the sheet metal the roofing screws into the sides along the upright supports to just give it a little bit more strength. And then we're going to put the apron on. We're going to cut the boards. I'm going to cut the boards in a miter fashion, 45-degree angles at each corner. Okay, now we're going to do the frame part of the hoop house, and so they're basically just 48 inch wide on the narrow side and 89 inch long on the long side. They don't miter because we want that strength of the short side boards when it hinges up. So yeah, let's just put these together quick. We're losing sun. I was hoping to get done by the end of today. Sun's getting very, very low, but hopefully we'll get this thing pretty much done tonight. First of all, we're going to get the hardware on because I want to be able to walk around in these things without the supports getting in the way. Okay, we're going to make the clips to hold the plastic on. I'm going to make them about 2 inches long.
Whoa.
I'm using the 3-inch screws, and that I use to screw together the frame of the bottom of the hoop house. And when you're doing it, you're going to be drilling in on an angle, so you'll need a drill bit in order to put the screw in on the proper angle. You'll need some of these self-tapping screws, and please get these. These are the ones made for corrugated metal roofs, and they've got the rubber gasket in there, which is good. It's helpful because the other screws are for HVAC guys when they're putting plenums and things in. So these with this metal tip, or this pointed tip, they'll screw into anything, and you're going to see that you're going to need that in order to do some of the screwing, not only into the metal, but sometimes you have to screw into the PVC in order to hold the PVC in place. So these are the screws you want to get, and there's links for that. You're going to need a utility knife for cutting the plastic. Here's your handle for the hoop house, your hinges for the hoop house, and it comes with screws, but I use these 1.25-inch deck mates to screw all the hardware in and hold things on, because it has the star bits on top, and these have the star bits too, the 3-inch ones, and they're just so much easier than any kind of Phillips head bit, flat bit. These things are definitely what you want to have to be doing that. So I've switched the hardware, but you can use the hardware if you want. It's got Phillips head on top. You can deal with them if you want. This is the 1-inch pipe for making the clips. I usually cut about a 2-inch piece off. This is more like a 3-inch piece, but then you cut this, and you cut a section out of it. You use the grinder to do it, and I'll be showing you the grinder in a second. In order to hold it, because you don't want to hold it in your hand and use the grinder. So typically I just put it in here, one of these like this, and then I just squeeze it and hold it in place, and then I can just grind with the grinder and grind that bit out. Very useful to have. Be careful with them though, they may rip your plastic, but they do a good job in holding the plastic in place. This bit is I believe it's 1.25-inch bit, and this is for what you would put your PVC pipe into. A lot of people just use caps, PVC caps, and then they'll screw them onto your 2x4 like this with a screw, with perhaps one of these screws or one of these screws. They'll just screw right through here and into here and then hold it, and then they'll put the PVC pipe, and you might think, well, that's a great idea. But I can tell you that there's an awful lot, it's hard to get the pipe in, and there's an awful lot of stress on the pipe, and I don't think they're going to last too long. I did it on the first one, and on the second one I drilled the holes using this, and it worked a lot better. The grinder is for, obviously, to cut these, and also to cut your corrugated metal, and I recommend getting one of these blades. They're about, I think I paid like $16, $17 for this blade, and I've had all the other grinder blades, the abrasive blades, that are just real thin, and if you drop them, they'll crack in half, and then you replace them, and they only cost like $3 or $4 a piece. But after using this blade and having used those other ones, I would never ever go back. This is the best blade I've ever used for the grinder for cutting, full stop. So I went and bought a second one, even though I don't think this one's going to wear out anytime soon. But I just thought I need a backup. Here's that strap that I was talking about. See, you can see it was just broken off of, one of those ratchets, clamps that you use to lock things down on your trailers and whatever. So when it comes to drills, I tend to use impact drivers. I just like them. You've got the quick disconnect and there's a lot more torque in them, especially when you're using a bit like this. It just, rather than a regular drill that will just sort of crank your hand, the impact driver will just torque right through it and do just a lot better job. So you'll need a finishing nailer to put the furring strips on to hold the plastic down, and a compressor. If you don't have that, you can just use screws. It's going to take you a little bit longer and it might actually work out better for you. I just noticed one of my furring strips fell off. This may not be the best way to do it. Also, you need the 3/4 by 3/4 by 1/2 inch T, and this is going to go over the 1/2 inch pipe. So you got the 1/2 inch pipe like right here, of course, and you can just put that. These are your main arch supports, and then this will just go right over the main arch support, and then this will go in for the purlins across. These are the cross supports, or purlins as people call them. They work good. So you'll need 6 of these for each one. 8-foot by 26-inch piece of corrugated metal roofing, readily available at Home Depot. I think they're about $14 a sheet. This is pressure treated 2x4s. That's to make the frame of the hoop house. That's the 1/2 inch pipe. That's for the arch supports and the purlins. This is 4x4. Then I'm just using the cedar for the top of the raised bed, and the furring strips to hold the plastic down.